Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyre from On the Hot Podcast. Today I'm going to be doing a solo episode. It'll just be me, the host today. This is going to be coming on all our platforms, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All that's going to be covered on the four topics that I'm going to cover today. It's going to be an all-out football episode, but got to kick things off on the right foot after an exciting weekend of Conference Championship Weekend. So we're going to kick things off today with discussing the Conference Championship Weekend, both the AFC and NFC Championship games. I'm going to discuss which team had the best performance between the two winning teams that will represent each conference in the Super Bowl, between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. So between these two teams, I'm going to have to say that the Cincinnati Bengals looked the best. They knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending AFC champions, and the team that has represented the AFC in the last 2 years in the Super Bowl. So for you to come in Arrowhead as the fourth seed and knock off this team, that's one of the hardest places to play in the National Football League, especially come playoff time. I could just gotta say they look the best. I know the Rams look really good, really spectacular against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. But I just got to tip my hat off to the Cincinnati Bengals. For this team, like I just said, to go on the road and win this game was absolutely tremendous. And honestly, when I watched this first half of the game, especially in the second quarter when the Chiefs were up 21-3, I was just looking at the score. I'm like, I feel so bad for Joe Burrow and the Bengals because they got all the way here to the AFC Championship game, and they're going to get destroyed. They're going to get blown out, and they're going to go home with their heads down instead of high up, at least if they would have kept the game close. But somehow, some way, they came back from a 21-3 deficit. They came all the way back, being down by 18, and won the game in overtime, 24-21 after losing the coin toss. And that's a lot of controversy because I would have liked to know what would have been said if Kansas City did win the coin toss, just like they did a week ago when they played the Buffalo Bills. Remember, I said the statistic: teams that win the coin toss are 10-1 in games. Now they are 10-2. Before, the team that lost after winning the coin toss was the Saints a few years ago in the NFC Championship game against the Los Angeles Rams. There hasn't been a loss since then. Now we go to this game. I would have liked to see what would have been said again if Kansas City did win the coin toss and then go down the field and score, and Joe Burrow didn't get a chance to win the game. We would have heard all about the officiating rules once again, all over again, but somehow, some way, the Cincinnati's defense stepped up, got their team the ball back, and Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense just closed it out. So, in my opinion, I believe the difference in this game was, and another play I'll point out. When the score was, they were down by 11 going into halftime, so that's, hold on, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I want to say it was 21-9. Pardon me if I'm wrong. But either way, the Kansas City Chiefs had the ball on offense with 3 seconds. They had the ball with 3 seconds left. And the offense Andy Reid had a decision to make. They could have either went for 3, you would have been up by 14 at the half, and took the lead and took the points, you would have been up by 14 instead of 11. They gambled with no timeouts and they ran a little dump off play to Tyreek Hill. Eli Apple and company made a tremendous play on the goal line, and the Chiefs were cut short, and the lead was at 11 at halftime. In my head, when I'm watching this game, I'm like, I really believe this is going to be a difference-making play. And it was. It turned out to be, because the Bengals sat there and said, Week 17, when we were down by 11, what did we do? We came all the way back and beat the same exact team. But in different circumstances, it's hard because the playoffs really bring the best out of a football team, especially out of marquee players like a Patrick Mahomes, a Tyreek Hill, a Travis Kelce. So when they were down by 11 this time, they put their heads down, they grinded all the way to the end, they overcame adversity and won this game. But that play before halftime was the difference maker. That goal line stand was a huge difference in this game. But back to Joe Burrow, I mean, can you honestly believe he's where he is at this point? A kid that was a first overall pick. No. I'm going to go all the way back to his college days. A kid that Didn't even start at Ohio State, transferred to LSU his senior year, and he won a national championship with LSU, became the first overall pick in the 2020 draft, and it's been one heck of a ride. He tore his ACL last year when they played the Washington football, not Washington football team any longer, the Washington Commanders. When they played them in 2020, he tore his ACL, came all the way back this year, won the AFC North, got into the playoffs. He's undefeated in the playoffs, 3-0, and is an AFC Conference champion. This guy is the real deal. And Joe Burrow making big-time plays with his arm and his legs in the second half really set the tone for the Bengals offense to get back in the rhythm against this Chiefs defense, who's been one of the best in the league for quite some time, since November. When teams normally get hot, they have been arguably the best defense in the league. And Joe Burrow had his way with them. So the defense, the Bengals defense really does not get enough credit, in my opinion. They're a decent defensive unit. Now, by all means, I'm not sitting here. Awuzie is a former Dallas Cowboy. If we definitely had him this year, our secondary would have been a little bit better. But I respect him. I like Awuzie's play. But I understand the heat and criticism that Eli Apple brings upon himself, and the criticism that he receives on Twitter and other social media platforms on a daily basis. But in the second half, I have to say, I had to tip my hat off to Eli Apple for playing a really decent half. Tyreek Hill was having his way in the first half. You really didn't hear his name much in the second half. And the defensive unit, the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs weren't doing really anything in the second half. They only had 3 total points to show in the second half, and the reason why they did go to overtime in this game. Like I said, Eli Apple, Awuzie, and everybody in that secondary, safeties deserve a lot of credit for this win. Kansas City in the second half only had 3 points, like I just said, and a total of 83 yards of total offense with a total of 6 first downs. Buffalo couldn't do that, and Pittsburgh couldn't do that either. I would say both of their defenses are better than Cincinnati. So as much praise as we give Joe Burrow and this offense, the defense deserves a lot of credit, especially Eli Apple. And he still went on to Twitter and ran his mouth, Nicole Hardman and Tyreek Hill after the game. You just gotta give him his props that game. He stepped up huge in the second half when all the marbles were on the table. And this is why I said they looked more impressive than what the Los Angeles Rams did on Sunday in conference championship play. Now, I will save my Super Bowl prediction for next week. But this week, I have to say, the Cincinnati Bengals play a much better team playing the Kansas City Chiefs than the San Francisco 49ers. Not taking anything away from them, but the Bengals just look like the better team this week. And it's going to be interesting to see what type of Super Bowl we ultimately get between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams.